The air was thick with the scent of honeysuckle and regret that late August afternoon when Emily Carter stepped out of the silver Honda Accord, her 9-month-old daughter, Lily, cradled in her arms. The sun blazed mercilessly over the rolling hills of central Tennessee, casting long shadows across the gravel driveway of her brother-in-law's sprawling estate. She wore a pale lavender sundress that clung to her sweat-dampened skin, a dress her husband, James, had chosen from her closet that morning with a curt nod and a muttered, "This'll do." Emily hadn't argued. She hadn't slept in 2 days. Lily's teething had turned every night into a battlefield of cries and exhaustion, and her body ached like it might collapse under the weight of itself. But James had been insistent. "It's Daniel's engagement party, Emily. Don't make this about you. Look decent, keep your mouth shut, and don't embarrass me in front of my family." She'd plastered a smile on her face, the kind she'd practiced in the bathroom mirror 100 times since Lily was born, a mask to hide the hollowed-out woman beneath. Her dark blonde hair was swept into a messy bun, strands slipping loose despite her efforts, and her makeup light foundation, a swipe of mascara, was already smudging in the humidity. James strode ahead in his crisp charcoal suit, his broad shoulders cutting through the crowd of well-dressed guests like a blade through silk. He didn't glance back at her, not once, as they approached the white tent strung with fairy lights, where laughter and the clink of champagne glasses floated on the breeze. Emily clutched Lily tighter, her daughter's tiny fingers tugging at the silver chain necklace Emily hadn't taken off since her wedding day 4 years ago. That chain had once felt like a promise, James slipping it around her neck under a starlit sky in Nashville, whispering, "You're mine forever, Em." Now it felt like a noose, tightening with every step she took into the life she barely recognized. The engagement party was a spectacle of wealth and pretense. Daniel, James's younger brother, stood beside his fiancée, Claire, a VY Shawn in a cream silk dress that shimmered like liquid gold. The guests, James's extended family, old college friends, and a handful of local business tycoons, stood and awed as Daniel recounted the proposal story. A hot air balloon ride at sunrise, a diamond ring the size of a walnut. Emily stood on the edges, rocking Lily gently as the baby whimpered, her gums sore and her cheeks flushed. She caught a glimpse of herself in a polished silver tray carried by a waiter, pale, tired, a ghost in lavender, and looked away. James was in his element, laughing too loudly with a group of men in tailored suits near the bar, swirling a glass of bourbon like he owned the world. Emily edged closer, hoping for a flicker of the man she'd fallen for, the software engineer who'd charmed her at a Knoxville art gallery opening with his quick wit and warm hazel eyes. She reached out, her fingers brushing his sleeve, a small gesture of connection. James stiffened, pulling his arm away as if she'd scalded him. He turned, his voice low and venomous, slicing through the hum of the party. "Don't paw at me, Emily. You're here to hold the kid and look pretty. That's it." Her breath caught, a sharp stab of humiliation twisting in her chest. She forced a laugh, soft and brittle, because crying wasn't an option, not here, not in front of his family, not when every eye could turn and judge. "I just thought," she started, but James cut her off, leaning in so close she could smell the bourbon on his breath. "You thought wrong. Don't make a scene. You're the mom now, not my date." His eyes, once so full of light, were flat and cold, like a winter lake frozen over. He turned back to his friends, dismissing her without another word. Emily stood there, rooted to the spot, Lily fussing against her shoulder. The tent spun briefly, too much heat, too little sleep, and she pressed her lips to her daughter's forehead, hiding her face behind a curtain of loose hair. Around her, women in designer dresses chatted and giggled, their husbands' hands resting casually on their waists. Did any of them feel this in VY Cybele? Had any of them ever been reduced to a shadow in their own story? She didn't know how long she stood there, swaying with Lily, before Claire's mother, Patricia, swept over in a cloud of Chanel No.
5 and pearls.
"Oh, Emily, you look exhausted," she said, her tone dripping with faux concern. "Being a mother is hard, isn't it? But you can't let yourself go like this. James deserves a wife who keeps up appearances." Emily's smile tightened. "Lily's been teething. It's been a rough week." Patricia's lips pursed, her eyes flicking over Emily like she was a smudge on a window pane. "Well, thank goodness James is so patient. Most men wouldn't tolerate a wife who can't manage." She patted Emily's arm and glided away, leaving a sting in her wake. That night, back in their colonial-style house on the outskirts of Franklin, Emily sat in the dark kitchen, a mug of chamomile tea cooling untouched in her hands. Lily slept upstairs, her soft breaths crackling through the baby monitor. James had gone straight to bed after a curt good night, not bothering to ask how she was or if she needed help with the baby. The silence pressed against her, heavy and suffocating, until her mind replayed his words from the party. "You're here to hold the kid and look pretty." She stared at the wedding photo on the counter, James grinning, her in a lace gown, both of them glowing, and wondered where that man had gone. The next morning, James acted like nothing had happened. He shuffled into the kitchen in his boxers, poured a glass of orange juice, and scrolled through his phone, grunting at the news. Emily, still in her faded nightgown, hair tangled from a sleepless night, watched him from across the room. "You meant what you said yesterday, didn't you?" she asked, her voice raspy from disuse. He didn't look up. "What are you talking about?" "At the party. About me being just the mom." James sighed, setting his phone down with exaggerated patience. "You're twisting things as usual. I said what I said because you were clinging to me like some needy kid. I was working the room, networking. You wouldn't get it." "I wouldn't get it?" Her hands tightened around her mug. "I used to have a career too, James. I was a graphic designer. I had clients' deadlines." "Yeah, and now you've got Lily," he snapped, finally meeting her eyes. "That's your job now. Stop acting like I'm the bad guy for wanting you to pull your weight." "My weight?" Her voice rose, trembling. "I haven't slept in days. I'm up every night with her while you sleep like nothing's wrong. And you can't even look at me without sneering." He slammed the glass on the counter, juice sloshing over the edge. "You're the one who wanted a kid, Emily. Don't cry to me because it's hard. And don't pull that martyr crap you embarrassed me last night, hanging on me like some desperate housewife. Grow up." She stared at him, the man she'd vowed to love forever, and saw a stranger. "I embarrassed you," she whispered. "You called me a prop in front of your family, James. You made me feel like nothing." He shrugged, picking up his phone again. "If you feel like nothing, that's on you. I've got work to do." And with that, he walked out, leaving her alone with the echo of his indifference. Days bled into weeks, each one a quiet suffocation. James grew colder, his words sharper, his silences longer. He stopped asking about Lily, stopped touching Emily, stopped seeing her at all. She moved through the house like a ghost, tending to Lily, cooking meals he barely ate, folding laundry he never thanked her for. At night, she'd lie awake beside him, his steady breathing a cruel contrast to the storm in her chest. She'd traced the cracks in their marriage back to Lily's birth, how his patience had thinned, how his affection had dried up, how he'd started treating her like an accessory he no longer needed. One afternoon, while James was at the office, his mother, Margaret, dropped by unannounced. She swept into the house in a tailored blazer and heels, her silver hair immaculate, her eyes scanning Emily like a predator sizing up prey. "You look dreadful, dear," she said, setting her purse on the counter. "No wonder James has been so tense lately. A wife's job is to lift her husband up, not drag him down." Emily forced a smile, cradling Lily against her hip. "I'm doing my best, Margaret. Lily's been fussy." Margaret waved a dismissive hand. "Motherhood isn't an excuse to let yourself go. James works hard and needs a partner, not a burden." She paused, her gaze sharpening. "I heard about Daniel's party. People noticed how withdrawn you were. It reflects poorly on James, you know." "I was tired," Emily said, her voice steady despite the heat rising in her throat. "Maybe if James helped with Lily once in a while, I wouldn't be." Margaret's laugh was sharp, cutting. "Oh, Emily, men don't change diapers. That's your domain. Don't expect him to coddle you." She picked up her purse and left, her parting words lingering like smoke. "Shape up, dear. For his sake." That night, Emily found a crumpled receipt in James's jacket pocket while doing laundry. It wasn't for groceries or gas, it was for a $200 dinner at a downtown steakhouse, dated 2 nights ago when he'd claimed to be working late. A woman's name was scrawled on the back in loopy handwriting. Jessica T. Emily's stomach twisted, but she didn't confront him. Not yet. She tucked the receipt into a drawer, a seed of suspicion taking root. The breaking point came a month later, at a family barbecue hosted by James's uncle Tom. The sprawling backyard was alive with music, smoke from the grill, and the chatter of relatives. Emily wore a simple denim dress, Lily balanced on her hip, her hair pulled back in a loose braid. She'd hoped for a reprieve, a day where James might soften, but he barely acknowledged her arrival, deviating into a game of cornhole with his cousins instead. Halfway through the afternoon, Tom raised a beer bottle and called out, "Hey Emily! You're the artist in the family, why don't you say a few words about James and the clan? Give us something real." The crowd turned expectant. Emily froze, her pulse hammering. James shot her a look, half warning, half sneer, and muttered, "Don't bother. No one wants your sob story." But something snapped inside her. She handed Lily to Tom's wife, Karen, and stepped forward, her hands trembling as she took the makeshift mica wooden spoon Tom thrust into her grip. The words spilled out before she could stop them, raw and unfiltered. "I used to think love was enough," she began, her voice shaky but growing stronger. "When I married James, I thought I'd found someone who saw me saw me. I was 28, freelancing as a designer full of dreams. He told me I was his world. But 4 years later, I'm not his world. I'm not even a person to him. I'm a baby holder, a prop to make him look good. He told me that at Daniel's party, look pretty, keep your mouth shut. And I tried. God, I tried." The backyard went silent, save for the crackle of the fire pit. James's face darkened, his arms crossing tightly over his chest. Emily kept going, her voice steady now, a river breaking through a dam. "I've spent years fading away, hoping if I was quiet enough, good enough, he'd love me again. But love doesn't come from silence. It doesn't come from being invisible. I'm not a decoration, James. I'm not your maid or your punching bag. I'm Lily's mom, and I'm still the woman who used to design logos for startups, who had a life before you turned me into a shadow." She turned to the crowd, her eyes blazing. "I'm done pretending. Marriage isn't a stage for one person to shine while the other disappears. It's supposed to be a partnership, not a prison. So here's my truth. I'm not staying silent anymore. I'm not staying small." She dropped the spoon into Tom's hand and walked off, ignoring the stunned whispers behind her. James didn't follow. He just stood there, jaw clenched, as she scooped Lily from Karen's arms and headed for the car. The drive home was a blur, Lily babbling in the back seat, Emily's hands gripping the wheel so tight her knuckles whitened. She didn't know what came next, only that something had shifted a crack in the wall she built around herself. James came home late that night, reeking of beer and fury. He found her in the living room, folding Lily's clothes, the TV muted on some late-night rerun. "You think you're some kind of hero now?" he snarled, looming over her. "You humiliated me in front of my entire family. What the hell was that?" Emily didn't look up. "It was the truth. You've been humiliating me for years, James. I just stopped hiding it." "You're delusional," he spat. "You've got no job, no money, no spine. You need me, Emily. You're not going anywhere." She met his gaze, unflinching. "Maybe I don't have much, but I've got enough to know I deserve better than this." He laughed, cold and hollow. "Good luck with that. You're nothing without me." He stormed off to bed, leaving her with the weight of his words, and a flicker of defiance she hadn't felt in years. The next morning she dug out her old laptop from a box in the garage, its edges scuffed from years of use. It hummed to life after a sluggish start, and she typed in the password Lily 2024, her fingers trembling with a mix of fear and exhilaration. She hadn't designed anything since Lily was born, hadn't touched Adobe Illustrator since James had dismissed her freelancing as a cute hobby after their wedding. But as the software downloaded, disguised as a baby photo folder in case James snooped, she felt a spark reignite. She found her old external hard drive in a dusty corner of the basement, a treasure trove of past projects, logos for coffee shops, branding for a yoga studio, a website mock-up for a boutique winery. Each file was a piece of the woman she'd been before James had set her to quit, saying, "I make enough for both of us. Focus on the house." She clenched her jaw and logged into Upwork, her profile photo an old shot from her single days, bright-eyed, confident, a red lipstick smile. Her bio was simple. Experienced graphic designer seeking small projects. Flexible deadlines, reliable delivery. 3 days later, a message pinged. A woman named Tara needed a logo for her Etsy candle shop. $50. Emily nearly wept at the offer. She worked at night after Lily was asleep, the laptop's glow casting shadows across her tired face. She sketched flames in soft cursive, sent drafts with a nervous note. Hope this fits your VY Shaun. Tara's reply, this is perfect, thank you, hit her like a lifeline. She opened a secret bank account under her maiden name, Carter, and deposited the payment, a tiny seed of independence. The gigs trickled in labels for a tea brand, a flyer for a dog groomer. Each job was a thread stitching her back together, a quiet rebellion against the life James had boxed her into. She played the role of dutiful wife by day, coffee brewed, dinners plated, smiles forced, but at night, she was alive again, a designer reclaiming her craft. James noticed the shift. One evening, as she pureed carrots for Lily, he leaned against the counter, watching her with narrowed eyes. You're different lately. What's going on? Just keeping busy, she said, avoiding his gaze. Lily's a handful. He smirked. Don't get any ideas, Em. You're still my wife. She didn't reply, but her silence wasn't agreement, Anna Marie, it was strategy. Weeks later, she found a tracking app on her phone, buried under a vague system update label. It had access to her location, her texts, her calls. Her blood ran cold. She deleted it, checked Lily's diaper bag where she kept her freelance invoices, gone. James was watching her, tightening the cage. She didn't confront him. Instead, she bought a burner phone with cash, hid it in a tampon box, and started backing up everything: screenshots, bank statements, daycare applications on an encrypted USB she stashed in a hollowed-out book on her nightstand. She contacted a women's shelter in Nashville, Lee. Her voice hushed over the burner phone. My name's Emily. I've got a baby and I need to leave. It's not physical, but he's controlling everything: me, money, my time, my life. The counselor, Diane, was calm, practical. Start gathering EVY Denke. We've got resources, housing, legal aid. When you're ready, we're here. Emily built her escape in secret. PayPal receipts went into a Ziploc bag under the couch cushions. Daycare flyers doubled as coded schedules, scribbled in reverse. She VY cited a preschool run by a kind woman named Alma, who didn't pry when Emily whispered, I might need this soon. Every night she played the perfect wife, but her mind was a chessboard, plotting moves James couldn't see. One rainy afternoon she met an old college friend, Lauren, at a coffee shop under the guise of a grocery run. Lauren, now a marketing exec in Chattanooga, hugged her tightly. I saw your name on a freelance site, Em. You're designing again? God, I've missed you. Emily's eyes welled up. Barely. I'm clawing my way back. Lauren slid a business card across the table. My firm needs a remote designer. Part-time, flexible. I'll vouch for you. Say yes. Yes, Emily breathed, clutching the card like a lifeline. The interview was a week later via Zoom with a no-nonsense creative director named Kim. What drives your work? Kim asked. Storytelling, Emily said. A design should feel alive, like it's speaking for someone who can't. Kim nodded, and 2 days later, an offer landed in her inbox. Freelance contributor, doula 30/hour, start next month. Emily cried alone in the bathroom, the first tears of hope she'd shed in years. She used the first paycheck to open a second account, stashing funds for an apartment she'd scouted on Linea, 1-bedroom near Lauren's office, doula $900 a month. She toured it in secret, Lily in tow, imagining a life where the walls didn't close in. The landlord, a gruff man named Pete, didn't ask questions. Sign when you're ready, he said. James grew suspicious. One night, as she rocked Lily to sleep, he loomed in the doorway, his voice low. You're too quiet lately. What's going on in that head of yours? Just tired, she lied, meeting his gaze. Trying to keep up. He stepped closer, his shadow swallowing the light. You're hiding something. I can feel it. She smiled faintly. Maybe I'm just learning to live with what you've given me. He stared, then left without a word. But the next day she found her laptop open, browser history cleared. He'd been digging. She didn't flinch, already moved her files to the cloud, Password protected behind a wall he couldn't breach. The final straw came on a frigid November night. James came home late, eyes bloodshot, a faint whiff of perfume clinging to his jacket. Emily was in the kitchen, sketching a logo on a hidden tablet she'd bought with freelance cash. He dropped his keys on the counter, staring at her. "Where were you today?" "Grocery store," she said, not looking up. "Took Lily for a walk." "Bullshit," he snapped. "I called the house. You didn't answer." Her heart thudded, but she kept her voice calm. "Maybe I was in the backyard. Signal's bad out there." He grabbed her wrist, yanking her toward him. "You're lying, Emily. I know you're up to something. You think you can sneak around behind my back." She pulled free, stepping back. "Let go of me, James. You don't own me." His laugh was bitter. "Oh, I own you, all right. You've got nothing without me. No money, no future. You're mine until I say otherwise." She looked at him, really looked, and saw the truth. He wasn't just controlling, was terrified of losing that control. "Not anymore," she said softly. "You'll see." He didn't respond, just stormed off, but the air crackled with his unspoken threat. That night, she packed a diaper bag with essentials formula, clothes, the burner phone, and hid it in the trunk. She reprinted her EVY Denke, sealed it in a waterproof pouch, and buried it under a bag of frozen peas in the deep freezer. At 3 a.m., with James snoring and Lily asleep, she slipped out, drove to the shelter, and didn't look back. Diane met her at the door, guiding her to a small room with a crib and a lock. "You're safe now," she said. Emily laid Lily down, collapsed on the bed, and let the silence wash over her. For the first time in years, it didn't hurt to breathe. 2 weeks later, she stood at a family gathering hosted by James's cousin, Mike, a low-key dinner to reconnect after her disappearance. James was there, stone-faced, watching her every move. Mike handed her a mic, grinning. "You've got a voice, Em. Use it." She took it, stepping into the light. "I left because I had to," she said, her voice clear and strong. "Not because I'm weak, but because I'm done being in VY Cybele. James thinks I'm nothing without him, but I'm Lily's mom, a designer, a woman who's finally free. I chose myself, and I'd do it again." The room hushed. James's face twisted, but he didn't speak. She walked out past him, whispering, "This is goodbye. Next time I won't even see you." Outside, the night was hers, and she stepped into it, unbroken, alive, and ready for whatever came next.